Hello everybody and welcome back to All the Mods 10. It's been a while since I've actually been on this world as I kind of took a little bit of a vacation. So I might be just a little bit rusty here today as I sort of figure out exactly where we left off. I think we were doing extreme reactors last I could tell. And I think specifically we were actually trying to get into Insanite. So where we left off, it looks like we were at the Ludicrite and Ridiculite sort of quest here, which means that our next objective is going to be Inanite. So if you're as excited as I am to actually get started and continue on in this world, I know it's been a few weeks, hit the like button and subscribe. Seriously, it helps the channel out a ton and lets me know that you guys are interested in these videos. If you want to take it one step further, why not consider becoming a channel member? It's the best way to support me directly, and you get access to all of these videos early. In the coming week or two, I'm going to be working on a big backlog, so there's definitely going to be a ton of videos coming up pretty soon that you'll be able to access if you become a channel member. With all that out of the way, let's jump back into the world. So to actually get in Nanite, what we're going to need to do is combine Ridiculite with Rosinite inside of the reprocessor, and that should create our Nanite ingots. Yep, I think this one is the reprocessor, and this is our fluidizer. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be really rusty here, but as we get back into things, I will find my groove. So it looks like we're going to need to actually liquidize our Rosinite and then put the Ridiculite ingots in through the reprocessor. Right, okay, so we actually need to craft Verderium first, and then when we use our Verderium as a fuel inside of the reactor, that will actually produce Rosinite. So I think I'll start by liquidizing some Yellorium. Hopefully that'll begin to start doing that, and I think that'll automatically end up in the system, as soon as we turn the fluidizer on, of course. And I think my current storage cell for my fluids is actually full, so I'm just going to quickly craft another one here. And now I'm going to begin to actually get our plutonium processing. And we're actually going to need to craft a reactor fuel injection port as well, which will actually allow us to use fluids inside of our reactor. And so in order to actually combine two different ingots, we're actually going to need to have a second fluidizer solid injector port on our fluidizer. So we'll just set these up next to each other and set up another export bus there. And we'll have one of them exporting Yellorium and one of them exporting plutonium. And Yellorium and uranium are technically the same ingot, but yeah, if you don't have Yellorium, which I think you only get by exporting it out of a reactor, you can actually put uranium in here instead, and that should begin to actually work here. There we go. So yeah, I guess Yellorium doesn't work. I don't know why. I don't think it's actually supposed to be in this mod pack at all. And there we go. That should begin to make our Verderium. And Verderium actually does not have a solid version of it, so we just need to import it into our system. And over on our reactor, inside of our export bus here, we can actually put Verderium there. And that should begin to start filling up a liquid. Let's see if we can find it here somewhere. I guess it's only viewable on the fuel injection port itself. And yeah, I'm still not seeing it on the fuel injection port. It's not showing up at all. I don't see it going into the system, but it's definitely being imported, so I'm not sure exactly where it's going. All right, I'm just testing it now with a fluid pipe. Let's see if that'll actually begin to work. Yeah, I see it showing up here now. So I guess there's probably just a bug with it, with the applied energistic system, which is a little bit weird, but yeah, there we go. So that should begin to actually start burning. It looks like we're making only about 300 FE per tick, which is not great. I'm wondering if it's even using the fuel here. All right, and it looks like somehow it's filling up with the Verderium now. I have no idea why, but it's working now. I just made a new reinforced fuel injection port. I guess I just needed to export some of the waste here. Now, the only downside of that is it's now full of plutonium, but what we're going to need is the other one, because we actually need rosinite as our waste fuel, not plutonium. And rosinite is similar to verderium, where it doesn't have an actual solid version of itself. But by placing down another of these fuel injection ports, we can actually get our waste set up if we set it to outlet mode here. So here is our rosinite now. So we can import our rosinite back into the system. And now we need to combine it in a reprocessor with reticulite ingots. And reticulite are these sort of pinkish ingots that we made before. So we'll set those up at the top there. And then on this side here, this is a fluid injector. So we need our rosinite set up on our export bus, and that should begin to actually make that as soon as we turn it back on. I'm not seeing anything show up here though. And I'm wondering if this version of the mod pack is bugged when it comes to fluids, because I'm not gaining any fluids inside of my AE system. So let's see if this will actually work with some good old-fashioned pipes. So we should be able to export from there and interact with our reprocessor. And we might need to wait a couple seconds here for some more rosinite to actually be made. There we go. It'll actually work with pipes, it looks like. So that's kind of a little bit of a weird thing. I don't know if it's just a bug with this version. Of course, there's always the chance that I did something wrong, but here we go. We have our first nanite ingot here. And we can add those to our inventory to hopefully finish that quest. Here we go. Nice. So in order to make the insanite block, what we're going to need is 9 nanite ingots so that we can make the nanite block. We'll also need a block of netherite, but we're actually good on that. So I guess we only need 8 technically of these ingots. And I was only able to make 4, so I'll probably need to just spend a little bit of time here making a few more. And to make insanium, what we're going to need is beniotite. So we'll get some of these ores broken down. Here we go. There's 40. And I think it actually costs 16 per. So let's get those inside of there. And that'll actually begin to craft. It does require rosinite, by the way. But here are our first ingots of insanite. So we're just one step further away from actually making our insanite block, which will allow us to craft our philosopher's fuel. So I'm going to make the rest of these ingots that we need, and then we'll come back and finish off what we need to craft the philosopher's fuel. Alright, and gathering up all of the materials took a little while, and kind of figuring out exactly what we needed to run through the reprocessor again. It took a little bit of time, but it really wasn't too bad. So I think we have everything that we need. We needed 9 insanite ingots. We now have 10 of them, so yeah, that should be good. We crafted our inanite block, which is used to craft the insanite block. Here we go. Nice. So with that, we can finally claim our rewards from crafting the insanite block. And now back inside of the trophy room, we can place this inside of our little crafting grid that we have here. And that is everything that we needed to craft the philosopher's fuel. So I'm actually just going to pull all of these items off of the shelf. And here we go. And we can go ahead and craft our philosopher's fuel. Let me find it here. There we go. Nice. So that can just be placed right here. I think that's how I kind of want it to be. I might rotate this around. I'm not entirely sure yet. But that should be our first step towards crafting the All the Mods star. And we can actually grab all of these. And this is actually kind of an insane reward because we haven't even gotten, I don't think we've gotten unobtainium or vibranium yet. I think we've only gotten all the modium. So I think what I want to do now is take a little break from crafting and from our extreme reactor setup over here. And I want to actually figure out how to upgrade our armor. We've been using all the modium for quite a while, so I think it's time to upgrade into vibranium. So in order to do that, we're going to need a vibranium ingot as well as the vibranium smithing template. And this can actually be found in suspicious soul sand inside of bastions. So I think what we're going to need is a brush, and I think we just walk around inside of the nether looking for some bastions and trying to find some suspicious soul sand. And of course we have the explorer's compass, which should allow us to actually find the bastions that we need. And I'm here at our first bastion, and I don't think any of this soul soil is suspicious. Hopefully we can find some here. It should be in the center if I remember correctly, or it might just be scattered throughout. And one thing about it is that it will fall when you begin to brush it if it doesn't have any support below it, so definitely just be careful when it comes to that as well. And in the second bastion, still did not find any suspicious soul sand. Hopefully the third one will be the charm, but as far as I can tell, it's completely empty, so we'll have to move on to another one. Alright, and bastion number 4, I think this one's a treasure room. But unfortunately, it doesn't hold the treasures that we see currently. I did see this vibranium here, though. I'm curious to see if this pickaxe can actually mine it. It looks like it can. Nice. Alright, and bastion number 5. I don't see any suspicious sand here. That one might be... No, it's not. Alright, and bastion number 6. Let's see if there's any suspicious sand here. Maybe lucky number 7? Let's see. There's a lot of piglin brutes in this one. Oh gosh, I might die here. Oh, I think that's one right there. Let's see. Hey, there it is. There we go. We have our first vibranium smithing template. Nice. I'm gonna wander around for just a little while to see if I can find any more here. And the reason for that is because these can be pretty expensive to duplicate. We actually need all the modium for this, and ancient stone, and of course the vibranium smithing template. The ancient stone comes from a different dimension that I don't think that we've been to yet. So we'll probably need to go there pretty soon as I'm done here, trying to find some more suspicious sand. Ooh, and I see 2 more here. Nice. Excuse me. Here we go. And these should be, by the way, these should be guaranteed to drop the smithing template as well. And another one here in the corner. Nice. And one more for the road. So we managed to get 5 of these in total, which is enough to completely upgrade our armor. So to upgrade this, we just place our armor, the smithing template, and a vibranium ingot inside of a smithing table, and we get our upgraded item from that. Here we go. And now I'll just re-equip that, and that looks so nice. Wow, I really like the color on that one. So now that we're looking pretty snazzy here, I want to hop back into productive bees, and I want to make an infinite amount of all the modium and vibranium. In order to do that, we're going to need to make an all the modium bee spawn egg, which we get by using the productive metalworks mod. And it looks like we'll need to pour 4 ingots of molten allthemodium into or over an ancient bee spawn egg. So we'll need to make one of these as well. So I think I'm going to make a Pokey Pokey gene sampler. I forgot how ridiculous the name of that one is. Because we've actually already made ancient bees. And you don't actually have to do all of the weird bee spawn egg stuff to actually make the ancient bees. You just basically place a... You basically just right-click a block of netherite onto a diamond bee, and that will produce the ancient bee. But in order to get the allthemodium bee, we actually need the gene samples from the ancient bees. So what this will allow us to do is get some of the gene samples from our ancient bees. And this is probably going to take quite a while, so I'll probably come back when I've gotten at least a few of these done. So while we wait for our genes to actually get produced, let's go ahead and get started with the Productive Metalworks mod. Now, I've never touched this mod before, but basically how we're going to start off is we're going to make this fire clay, which is just sand and clay. And we can just throw that inside of a furnace. And that will allow me to craft the Big Book of Metallurgy. This is the guidebook for this mod, and it'll actually show you how to actually create your first foundry. If you've ever played with the Tinker's Construct mod, this might look pretty familiar. And we can actually use a variety of different colors and materials to make it look a little bit different. But I think for now I'm just going to craft the black foundry controller. That's the sort of default one. We'll also need a black foundry tank. Here we go. And I think we're going to need 9 of these liquid heating coils. And we'll need 12 black fire bricks per layer. So we'll go with 24 for now. We'll need a black foundry drain. This is how we're going to get metals out of the actual foundry. We'll also need a foundry tap. That will actually work alongside the drain. And then depending on what we're doing, we'll either need a basin or a table. It looks like for our needs, we'll probably need the table. And because the aesthetics of our base here is actually like sort of an all-white design, I am going to go through and just replace all of these and make sure that they're the white version instead. Don't think the heating coils have that. The tank does, the controller does, and the foundry drain does. I don't think anything else does though. And I think because this is sort of productive bees related, I'm going to put it up here next to the productive bees area. I think that should do pretty good. So we'll want the liquid heating coils down here at the bottom in a 3x3. We'll place the fire bricks surrounding it just like that. And we'll replace one of these with the controller, one with the drain, and one with the tank. In front of the drain, we'll just place our casting table with the foundry tap, just like that. And with that, that is actually a working foundry. You'll know that it's working if you can interact with the controller and the heating coils inside turn into this sort of red-ish, like fiery design instead of the default black design. I am going to make this a 2 tall one. I don't know if there's any need for me to do this, especially since we're just going to be using it to smelt down 4 ingots. So I'm still waiting on the gene samples for the ancient bees, but we can actually get our molten aldomadium started. So hopefully we have some aldomadium here. We'll need 4 of those. Actually, we'll need 8 because I want to make a aldomadium bee as well as a vibranium bee. So we'll just do 8 of those. You just shift click them inside of here and that will actually place these inside of the inventory. And then I think we're probably going to need lava. That's probably a good assumption. Here we go. Looks like we can fill this tank up with our lava. And that should begin to smelt these. Oh, but unfortunately, we actually can't use regular lava for this. We're actually going to need soul lava instead. So you might recall me mentioning another dimension earlier in this video, and it looks like in order to continue on the path that we're going, we're going to have to go to that new dimension. So I'm going to craft a brand new teleport pad, as well as get a new waystone. And now I'm actually going to head back inside of the nether. Now, if we go ahead and place our teleport pad down inside of the nether, and I think we shift right click it, it'll take a second to load. Hopefully I did it. It will actually take us to a brand new dimension. This is the other. Now, usually the other doesn't allow flight. I guess it does in this version of the mod pack. Anyway, I'm going to place down my waystone, and I will call this the other. And I believe the structure that we're looking for is the Piglin Village, so we'll go ahead and search for that. And now we've reached it, so we just need to basically dig straight down. And we should end up inside of the village. By the way, this ancient stone is something that we're also going to need as well if we want to upgrade any more items into vibranium. So I'll grab some of that. And pretty far underground, we should reach the Piglin Village. Nice, here it is. So this is a small area filled with a few things here and there. In the chests here, we should find vibranium and maybe all the modium as well. I don't quite remember. But what we're here for is this stuff right here. This is soul lava. Now we can actually use this in a variety of different ways. Our magmatic generators, for example, will actually be superheated if we use this instead of regular lava. And yeah, like I said, you can find vibranium in these chests. You can find some really good enchantments as well. But you'll also encounter a ton of brutes here as well, so definitely be careful. Oh, and there's apparently these guys here as well. These are evokers, and they are definitely something to be avoided. But I think I've gathered up all of the soul lava I'll probably ever need. You don't need a ton of the stuff, but yeah, I think I'm ready to head back home now. So we can now just use our soul lava buckets to fill up our foundry tank. And now that will begin to melt our aluminium ingots, which should end up over here, though it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Let's see. Huh. Weird. Oh, there we go. We have 2 blocks of molten aluminium now. I'm not entirely sure why it was having troubles with it, but I just took the ingots out and put them back in, and it seemed to work. Alright, so I got a little bit impatient with waiting for the Pokey Pokey samplers to actually produce any genes. So instead I made the bottler method. Basically, you place a piston up top with a block space in the middle with a bottler at the bottom. You make sure to put glass bottles inside of here. Then you can place a bee inside, and I think it does have to be grown up, so what we can do is just hit it with some poppies, and that will speed up the growing time. And then once it grows up, which should be here right now, there it is, you just flick the lever, and yeah, this gets a little bit violent. Oops. But then you get this bottle of squashed bee material. And what you do with that is you place it inside of the centrifuge, and that will produce a ton of these gene samples. And it is way better than having to use the passive method. So I've just been using this gene indexer here to sort of get a little bit better gene samples. And let's see if I can find... That's cyanite. Here we go. We have a 74% netherite. That should be good enough to make another ancient bee spawn egg. So I'll just combine that with a honey treat, and we should have a 74% chance of turning that into another ancient bee spawn egg. And unfortunately, even with 74% chance, it still failed, of course. But yeah, I can just keep doing this over and over because we are just breeding up more ancient bees right now. So it shouldn't take too long now. Alright, so I have a 100% netherite one now, so I should be able to combine that with a treat. And hopefully this works. I mean, it has a 100% chance of working, so I don't know really what I'm worried about. I am also realizing that I'm probably going to need 2 of each of the different materials because we'll need to breed them to fill in a hive, so we'll probably need 8 of these in total, or 6 I guess, because we already have ancient bees. But in any case, here's our second ancient bee spawn egg. Let's go ahead and place this inside of our casting table here. And we have our molten aluminium inside of here. So all we should have to do is right click that, I believe. Here we go. There we go. So there's our first aluminium bee spawn egg. And it looks like it did only consume 4 ingots. It looked like it didn't quite fill it, but it actually did. So let's get some more going here. And I'll place these in our little pen here just so that we can actually begin to breed these guys. Hopefully they can be bred. If not, we can just go ahead and create some more. Oh no, it looks like they can't be. So yeah, we'll have to make a lot more of these guys. But yeah, here we go. We have our first aluminium bees. And now I'll just get a hive set up for these guys. And I'm assuming we need an aluminium block in front of this in order for it to actually start going. Oh, and I just saw that the breeding item for that is actually 4 vibranium ingots, so we might actually be able to make a few more of these. But unfortunately, I think I'm gonna end things there for today. It's definitely good to be back, and I'm definitely excited to keep going on with this series and continue making our way towards the All the Mods star. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.